operating in the United States. 53 are in Florida. And people travel from around the globe to experience them. My home parks, they put a premium on taking you high into the sky. Every cut of wood and bend of steel, engineered for a feeling and rarely a vision. But here, it's different. A collection that packs great elements along with visuals that often tell a story. It's a total experience, and that's how I'll rank them. Not by the tallest, fastest, most intense, or the scariest. Think of it as more of a guide that I would give someone if they told me they could only visit Florida one time.
Game time.
When someone mentions being in space, you're going to have to make the quick 73-mile drive to Orlando. This is the ride that convinced me to drive 11 hours to Orlando. But Manta, the entire family was pumped. And personally, I couldn't wait to film it. That splash. So what was the point of all that? Hype. Don't always buy into the hype. A lot of enough. At this point, it's pretty safe to say that B&M built some great coasters in Florida, and the next two are no exception. Both built in the 90s and both are phenomenal coasters. One will come in at number 5 and the other at 4. So to the coaster that comes in at 5, don't be too upset. To say I went back and forth on this placement would be an understatement. It felt more like this.
Game time.
Where'd I even start with this coaster? Universal Orlando built this masterpiece in 1999, and it's been so popular ever since that in 2015, they shut it down for a year to completely rebuild it. If there was another coaster on the planet that deserved this type of treatment, I think it would have been Volcano the Blast Coaster. But that's neither here nor there, because it's gone now. The Hulk, however, is better than ever. And let me tell you, this thing is no plug-and-play coaster. You can really tell that years of planning went into making this ride possible. They even reused sections of the old track that was replaced for the new entrance they built. This thing launches you up that lift hill and out of that tunnel. You'll hit 67 miles an hour and experience 7 inversions. But it's that launch out of the tunnel with all the effects that really make this a must-ride coaster when you visit Florida. So you may be asking yourself, if this coaster is so great, why didn't you rank it ahead of Kumba? Well, I'll be the first to tell you that Kumba isn't necessarily any better of a ride. For me, I really think it's the world that's built around Kumba that really makes it feel special. Plus the fact it was built the same year I started to love coasters. You know, it's just something about those early 90s coasters that I seem to love. Seriously, I could care less about Kumbo on my first trip to Tampa. I mean, sure, I wanted to ride it, but with this being a park that's open 365 days a year, well, at least that's the plan. They just can't do all the yearly maintenance during the off-season like most parks. So pick a few weeks to shut down a ride and perform the work during the slower months. I remember checking the website and being so glad that Kumba was a ride closed and not one of the others. It just seemed like a super old B&M to me, and all I ever saw was these old faded pictures. And we had such a great time on that trip to Florida that we made another trip about a month later. Kumba was open this time, only with a fresh paint job. And after only one ride, I was all about it. I loved the loud roar and those old school trains, the way it went around all those awesome bridges, and was very surprised about how smooth and intense it was. And it's seriously one of the most photogenic coasters I think I've ever seen. If you love airtime and B&M hypers, well, you're really gonna love Mako. And I'll be the first to admit I haven't ridden them all. But of the ones I have rode, Mako delivered the best ride experience for me. That first drop is amazing, and I love how tall this overbank turn is. And this pop of airtime is one of the best I've experienced on a hyper. It gives a great near miss, and even has a pop of ejector here. Mako is one of the best rides in Florida. And I already posted a full review of Mako on my channel, so if you want to know more about my thoughts, make sure to check that out. But in that video, I said I would explain why I love to stay in the hotels across the street so much. Well, it's actually a pretty small reason, but here we go. I love so much waking up early before the rest of the family, slipping into my flip-flops and walking down to this coffee shop. I'll order my favorite coffee and walk outside to the nice tables and just enjoy that beautiful Florida sun and the palm trees all around me. Watching Mako go through its test cycles and roar past me with the silence of no riders is so peaceful, and it's the perfect way to start my day. You know, I've always promised to be honest on this channel, and I've known what number 1 and 2 would be for some time now. And the truth is, I've stretched this video way too long. You see, I had plans to get back to Florida at the end of March, but then April and May came and they went. So it's time to just finish things up the best way I know how. Early March 2020, I made a trip to Florida by myself. I had a lot of things to get done, but number 1 on that list was to ride Haggard's. I woke up early that morning and checked out of my hotel. Got to the park and made my way over to Islands of Adventure before almost everyone. When they finally dropped that rope, I rolled to Haggard's. I walked under that sign and I heard the sound of the motorcycle for the first time. Turned to my left, heard it coming again, so I stopped to watch it. And that's when I froze. Everyone was running past me and I didn't care. I watched it for about 30 minutes and I'm not sure I blinked. All I could think about was watching all those YouTube videos the day it opened with my family. How excited they were to ride it, and how my son told me that he was getting a motorcycle seat and I was going to ride in that sidecar on our first ride. I turned around and grabbed my camera and started to make my way back. That's when a lady informed me that the wait would be about 180 minutes. I told her that's no problem, I was just going to be filming today. So before I get to number 1, I need your help. Remember at the beginning of this video I stated that this list wasn't based on the tallest, the fastest, most intense, or the scariest, but it was more of a guide of coasters that you should make sure to experience if you could only go to Florida one time. Well, based off of that, if you have experienced Taggarts, do you agree with my placement here at number 2? Let me know in the comments below since I didn't get a chance to ride it. Like I stated earlier, I always knew what number 1 would be. That was easy, but doing it this way, well, that was never my intention. 2020, however, had much different plans. So let's just do this. That's right, I truly believe that when Iron Gwazi finally does open, it's going to be that must-ride coaster when you visit Florida. Ask any coaster enthusiast, and the odds are high that they'll agree or at least respect this placement. I didn't have to ride Steel Vengeance, Fury, or Lightning Rod to know they were going to be great. And the same goes for Iron Gwazi. Trust me, when it does open to the public and you finally get a chance to ride it, you're going to hit that final brake run and ask yourself, what just happened? It's going to be that good, and it's going to take multiple rides to process everything going on. But don't go just yet, I still have a few things to go over. So you may be asking yourself why I didn't include SeaWorld's newest coaster, Icebreaker, on my list. Well, just like Iron Gwazi, that one's yet to open as well. And I think it's certainly going to be worthy of a spot on this list, but unlike Iron Gwazi, I'm just not sure what to expect, so it was too hard to figure out a spot. It's going to be good though, and I can't wait to ride it. Universal also has a new coaster in the works, and it's looking like that one could be one of the best in Florida when it opens as well. Now, I haven't got the chance to visit Disney yet, but I'm excited to spend about a week there. And it's always been my plan to make an entire video kind of like this one, but for all the Disney rides, and I can't wait. So if you haven't already, I sure hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. As always, thanks for watching.